What is tomorrow? Not quite. Swamiji wants to have one class tomorrow because after that he'll be leaving. So he wants to make up as much as of the Kathopanishad as possible. So same time tomorrow, okay, 8:45 to 9:45. The rest of the time, freak out, no problem. Okay. Ooh, need a little help here. Did I break this? तोड़ दिया क्या? नहीं ना, ठीक है. Very good. Thank you. Om Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunālayam Namāmi Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punaha Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyaptadehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Parthaya Pratibodhitam Bhagavata Narayanena Swayam Vyasena Grathitam Puranamunina Madhye Mahabharatam Aitamritavarshiniim Bhagavatim Ashtadashaadhyayiniim Ambatvāmanusandadhāmi Bhagavad Gite Bhavadveshini. Yam Brahma Varunendra Rudra Marutaha Stunvanti Divyaistavaihi Vedai Sangapadakramopanishadaihi Gayanti Yam Samagaha Dhyanavasthita Tadgatena Manasa Pashyanti Yam Yoginaha Yasyantanna vidhusurasuraganaha Devaya tasmai namaha Devaya tasmai namaha. Om Narayanav Paro Vyaktat Andamavyakta Sambhavam Andasyantastvime Lokaha Saptadvipa cha Medini. We have seen at length how the Purva Pakshi and the argument of the Purva Pakshi was made threadbare by showing the correct purport of this verse. What is the correct purport of this verse? That it is belonging to not karma but jnanam. It is the knowledge of oneself as a karta, and then this gets confused. This gets confused in two ways. This two-way confusion Just to sum up, we have to recall that was the problem of the Purva Pakshi. What is the two-way confusion? First, the first mistake is thinking that the Akartri Atma is performing tasks. Aham karomi, when you say the aham should be Atma. But then that aham, Atma means aham. This is very clear in Adi Shankara's mind, and so in our mind also the identification between aham and Atma must be extremely clear. But it is not, because one is still in the process of knowing. So the aham slips, the the understanding of I is kind of sometimes connected to the body-mind-sense complex and sometimes connected with aham, Atma. Especially in the class, we say aham is Atma. Outside the class, aham is what? Body-mind-sense complex, who has just been told Wednesday is not a full holiday. Okay, so this is the situation. So this being the case, then there are two kinds of problems with this adhyasa. Adhyasa means two kinds of mistakes are detailed. What is the first mistake? The first mistake is attributing kartritvam to Atma, which is akarta. What is our stock example for that? Boat. Yes. So you are on the boat, and are the trees moving? No. Are the buildings moving? No. But you attribute the movement to the trees. So this is one kind of mistake, and another kind of mistake in things that are stationary, we are unable to see the movement. Like in a stationary body, we are unable to see that there are so many things happening. Of course there is action. So simply sitting quietly along with my body-mind-sense complex is not actionlessness. So the actionlessness of the limbs is attributed to the I wrongly. Do you see the two kinds of mistakes? At this point you have to say yes, even if you cannot see it. Okay? Yeah. So the first mistake is very clear. Okay, the second mistake, I think I could not see the comprehension in some people's eyes, so I'm going to just sum it up very quickly. The second mistake is thinking that if the body-mind-sense complex is stationary, that itself is akartritvam, that itself is non-doership. That is the mistake. Did you get that now? Abba, okay, good. So these two mistakes were roundly scolded by Bhashyakara and were dismissed after tearing that fellow's argument into shreds. And now what? We should go to 419, but where are we? 418. Okay, yeah. So we'll be happy when we reach 420. So anyhow, so now 418 is not yet over, because Adi Shankara sums this up and then understands a very important fact, that there is this chap, what is the person's name? Purva Mimamsaka. So the Purva Mimamsaka is glued, velcroed to the first portion of the Veda. Velcroed, in other words, to doership. Has to be doing something all the time, otherwise that person's food does not digest. They have to keep doing, and then in doership they see redemption, and redemption, moksha, is what? Swarga vasa. Swarga is moksha. Going and sitting happily next to Bhagavan and gawking at Bhagavan, that is moksha for them. But you will come back, doesn't matter. Shastra says you will come back again and do, rinse, repeat. So same thing you will do again. no problem. This is for them the moksha. So they don't know what to do with that small part, small but inconvenient second portion of the Veda. They don't know what to do with it. Because there it says completely opposite. You don't have to do anything, you already are free. They cannot handle that. And then it says you have to know the truth of yourself. And they find it a huge waste of time to know the truth of themselves. So in other words, what they have done is they have cut out Vedanta from their purview. They don't even look at it. They only deal with the first portion of the Veda. And here there is a, just like we have Brahma Sutra, which is written by Vyasa. Sutra means aphorism. So some things that is small and pithy. It will not have the time to say everything. So sutra is an aphorism. Like mathematics also has sutra. Like pi is equal to or the area of a circle. Pi r like the square. So that is a sutra. Then what is this pi? 3.14 etc. etc. And what is this r? And what is this square? All that has to be unpacked. But then the area of a circle, this is a geometry sutra. And so like this we have sutras. So you can't just say I am going to write a sutra and then write sutra. There are rules. Alpaksharam. It should be the minimumest words possible. And okay, A, B, C, D. Minimum. Asandigdham. Asandigdham means its purport should be very clear without any doubt. Free of doubt. So ABCD, what is this ABCD Sutra? Somebody will say something, ABCD stands for this. Somebody will say it is kindergartner's first teaching. That is what ABCD Sutra is. But whoever has gone abroad to USA and come back, they will say, I know what ABCD is. American born, confused, Desi, ABCD. This is the Sutra. It is Alpaksharam, all right, but it is not Asandigdham. It is not free of doubt. Alpaksharam, Asandigdham. It can be Asandigdham, but it has no meaning. No. Saravat, it should have meaning. And at the same time, it should have more than one application. It should not be contradicted by other sutras. Vishvato mukham. Alpaksharam, Asandigdham, Saravat, Vishvato mukham. Akshobhyam means not subject to wrong understanding and interpretation. Anavadyam cha, flawless. Sutram, sutravidoho, viduhu. Sutravidaha, viduhu. So this is the definition of sutra. So then we have, what is that? Brahma Sutras written by Vyasa, which analyze the sentences of Vedanta to make sure that there is no internal contradiction, there is no external contradiction, defending it from various Purva Pakshas of that time, and some of them are timeless Purva Pakshas also. Then Vyasa's student by the name of Jaimini wrote sutras for the first portion of the Veda. Oh, that means the Vyasa was what? Vedantin, and the student was what? Purva Mimamsaka. Oh, they didn't get along. Oh, maybe there is some masala here, there is some gossip. No such thing. Jaimini was also a Vedantin. See, Vedant, it's cool to be a Vedantin because you can go and write sutras for other things also. Yes, you can be anybody, anything at any time without really being anybody at anything at any time, because you are the truth of everybody at all things at all times. So this is the fun thing. Yeah. So then in fact, blessed by Vyasa, Jaimini, Rishi Jaimini wrote Purva Mimamsaka Sutras. And then one such sutras in the Purva Mimamsaka, namely 1-1. First chapter, second adhyaya, first sutra says, Amnayasya kriyarthatvat, Amnayasya kriyarthatvat, Atadartham means, what does it say? Amnayasya means the Veda. Amnaya means Veda. Root verb mna, manati, first conjugation. Mna abhyase, meaning learning, retention, repetition. This is what mna means. And generally it is used with the prefix a. So, a plus mna, and if you make it into a masculine noun, amnayah. Amnayah means Veda, that which is learnt, retained and shared, repeated. This is what is called amnayah. Tasya amnayasya. So for the Veda, and here which Veda are we talking about? First portion or last portion? First portion, because it is Jaimini's Sutra. We are only talking of the Karma Kanda. So Jaimini's Sutra states Amnayasya kriyarthatvat. Kriyartha means, artha here doesn't mean meaning, it means purpose. Kriyaparatvat. Kriyarthatvat means because the first portion of the Veda is committed to what? Kriya. What is Kriya? Action. It is committed to karma. It is karma paraha. So it is not jnana paraha. What is it? Karma paratvat, kriya paratvat, kriyarthatvat. Then anarthakyam means nishprayojanatvam, uselessness. What? Atadarthanam. So that means every sentence in the Veda must enjoin you to do something. If there are sentences in the Veda that ask you to, that don't ask you to either, either they should be vidhi para vakyas, meaning they should enjoin you to do something, or they should ask you to abstain from certain actions. Don't eat meat and don't tell lies. All these things are nishedha para vakyas, meaning they are committed to taboos. Nishedha means taboos, prohibitions. And then the rest of the vakyas are committed to what? Injunctions. Injunctions and prohibitions, this comprises the Vedas. We saw that in the first class also. This comprises what? The first portion of the Veda. So therefore, Jaimini posits this sutra, and you should write it down. Purna will put it in the group text. Everybody should know this, especially 3-year course students, because I tell you, we will revisit this many, many times in the course of the next next texts and all that we study. Amnayasya kriyarthatvat anarthakyam atadarthanam. So therefore, what is the translation? For the Veda, any sentence that tells you, anything that does not tell you what to do or what kinds of actions to refrain from, is useless and invalid. Example, Agnihi arodit. Lord Agni one day sat and cried. Is there something I have to do? Tell me. Do I have to go wipe his tears? He wanted to have a cry, he had a cry. So do I have to go wipe his tears? No. Is there any injunction? No. Is there any prohibition? No. So therefore, the sentence Agnihi arodit is what? Anartha, useless, nishprayojana. It's not contributing to any it is not contributing to my welfare by either doing something or by refraining from some action or the other. Correct? So, Agnihi Arodit is a useless sentence. This is what Jaimini says. But then he says, but look at the whole context. Don't be in a hurry to throw away the baby along with what? The bath water. Don't be in a hurry. Because Agnihi Arodit is what is called a sentence called Arthavada. Arthavada means a kind of a sentence that is an auxiliary sentence to the doing. It is connected to doing, but it is not directly blessing the action or the non-action. But what is it saying? It is connected to action indirectly. How? Because when people cry on earth, what comes out in the form of tears? Salt water. Saline solution. Correct? Salt water comes out. But when Devata Agni cries, he cries tears of molten silver. Liquid silver tears. So therefore, this is what is called Arthavada. It is both a auxiliary sentence, Stutyartha, meaning it is to praise the action that is connected to that sentence or to underscore the action that is connected to that sentence. So therefore, whenever there is any Agni involved, Agni Karya, Agni ritual, and every ritual is a fire ritual, right, in the Vedas. So when there is fire ritual involved, do not give silver as dakshina. So everybody gets a little take-home present after doing yajna. They are given food, and then don't give silver. What should you give? Give gold. Give gold. Because if you give silver, what will happen? You will have a chance to cry before 1 year, and you will not be crying tears of silver, okay? Yeah. So you see how they justify certain sentences, and but they justify it all in the context of this particular very important sutra, important not only for the Purva Mimamsakas, but important for us because we use it as a bat to beat them up. That's what we do, yes. Because this is a very important tool and it's going to be used now also. That is why I am spending time talking about this. We use it as their own bat we take from them and then bash them up. This is a very effective Purva Paksha silencing strategy. So what do? They do not see the Uttara Mimamsa or they don't have any truck with the second portion of the Veda that is discussing what? Discussing Jnana, Moksha, Akartritvam. They hate Akartritvam. If you say Akarta, they just want to put some noise cancelling headphones. They cannot handle non-doing. They cannot handle non-doing. They cannot handle abhokta, akarta. They don't care. And so therefore, so here the second portion of Adi Shankara's Bhashya focuses on this Purva Mimamsa. And then what does he say? The Purva Mimamsaka has also two other tricks. What is the first trick? We already saw yesterday. Get everybody to do Nitya Karma. Does Nitya Karma produce reward? No. No phala. Why? Because if you brush your teeth and take a shower every day, nobody says, Shabash, wonderful, how nicely you have brushed your teeth. I saw you coming into puja and your teeth were gleaming in the early dawn's light. Nobody is going to tell you that. Nobody is going to tell you that. Correct? But if you refrain from that, then everybody will go far away. This is Drishtaphala. Okay, like this, even Adrishtaphala is there for not doing Nitya Karma. Adrishtaphala is there, and that it has a funny name, Pratyavaya. This is a dosha. Okay, not dosa, dosha. All right, this is Pratyavaya. Pratyavaya dosha means it's a flaw, it's a fallacy, it's a papa. A papa called Pratyavaya comes. A papa called Pratyavaya comes when you don't do what is to be done. So therefore, Akarane Pratyavaya. This also you should write down. Akarane Pratyavaya means when you don't do this, this will happen. Okay. So now the Purva Mimamsaka has a bright idea after reading this Gita verse. What was the Gita verse? Karmani akarmayaf pashyet akarmani cha, like this the whole thing, the viparita, and then sabuddhiman manushyeshu, etc. That the Purva Mimamsaka gets a light bulb on the top of the light bulb emoji on the top of the head. Okay, idea. Okay, what is this brilliant idea you have? Why not take this Gita verse, which was 418, to be elucidating the Nitya Karma and Pratyavaya Papa effect. So how? Karmani akarma yaha pashyet. Let us see how. Okay, he will say it very well. Ayam shloka, he says, this shloka anyatha vyakhyatah kaihi chit. So kaischit, by a few people, by some people, whomsoever, certain people, and we know who they are. Who are they? Purva Mimamsakaihi. So the kaihi is Purva Mimamsakaihi. Kaischit anyatha vyakhyatah. This shloka has been interpreted differently by some people. Katham, how? Nityanam kila karmanam ishwararthe anushtiyamananam tat phala abhavat. So Nitya Karma, when you do it with Ishwararpana buddhi. You are not expecting anything. And then there is phala abhavatvam for Nitya Karma. There is no phala, no result of action if you do Nitya Karma. This we have already seen. All right. Then that is what, so is there karma or not? Yes. But there is no karma phala. So then it is as good as not doing anything. This is the akarma. This is akartritvam. Purva Mimamsaka's akartritvam is an as though akartritvam attributed to doing Nitya Karma which does not produce any result. So Gaunya Vritya, Gaunya Vritya, so Gauna Vritya means by a less interpreted secondary meaning, worldly meaning. So the worldly gunataha, so just by looking at it, by the worldly meaning, secondary auxiliary meaning, we can say it's as good as not doing anything. Because if you do something, the Purva Mimamsaka says it should produce result. If it hasn't produced result, that means you haven't done it at all. Very interesting, correct? So this is karmani akarma yaha pashyet, the first part of it. Did you understand? Yes. You want me to repeat? Yes to both. Okay. Did you understand? Yes. Would you like me to repeat? Definitely. Okay. So Nitya Karma, like brushing the teeth, if you do, you don't get any reward. If there is no reward, that means it is not producing phala. Result of action, the action is not producing. Are you with me till now? Yes. So if the result of action is not produced, it's as good as not doing it. Let's come back to our pickpocket, then you will understand it very nicely. Pickpocket picks the pocket. correct? And he makes off with it, goes off. And then what happens? By some good luck, he does not get caught. And then what does he say? It's as good as not picking the pocket. Why? Because I didn't get caught. I did the action, but there was no karma phala. So that means what? It's as good as I am akarta. Did you understand now? So this the Purva Pakshi connects this, or these alternative interpreters from the Purva Mimamsaka connect this to this particular shloka and says karmani, and you have to add nitya before. Nitya karmani, in nitya karma, akarma yaf pashyet. Those who don't see any action who see non-action in action. So if action does not produce any results, they say it's as good as what? Non-action. Now the other one also has to be explained by them. Let's see what they do here. Very interesting. So then Gaunyavritya akarmani tani uchyante tesham cha akaranam akarma tat cha pratyavaya phalatvat karma uchyate gaunya eva vritya. By the same secondary meaning, if you don't do nitya karma, what happens? Is phala produced or not? Yes, this is a very funny thing. Yeah, here you don't do the action. What kind of action? Required action. Duty-based required daily actions. If you don't do, you incur a result, a papa. You incur papa. Papa is karma phala or not? Yes. You incur a papa whose name is pratyavaya. Okay. So then they say akarmani means pratyavayakhe akarmani, in that karma which is called pratyavaya, which incurs by the non-doing. Akarmani pratyavayakhe, what happens? Karma pashyet, because it has produced result. I haven't done anything, but I still got result. That means what? I did it. So I haven't done something, and in not doing something I got the result. I didn't study for my exams at all. But what? I passed. So I see what? In the non-action I see action. The result is what? Passing, even though I didn't study at all. Okay. So did you understand these people's interpretation? It's very simple. It's not really complicated. Don't overthink this, okay? Yeah, because the Purva Mimamsakas are not to be overthought of. Yeah. So, Tatra, we have already seen the next, the nice thing about explaining this 3 times is that we have already done the next paragraph, okay? We have already done the next paragraph. Tatra, in this context, Nitye Karmani, in the daily actions, akarma yaf pashyet, one who sees no action. Why? Because there is no result. How can action be not action if there is no result? So there is no result. And he gives an example. Yatha dhenuhu adhenuhu bhavet. So there is a cow. All right? There is a cow. Actually, in Sanskritam, it's called gau. Okay, in English, it is called cow. See, so much similar. So, gauhu. So this cow, what happens to this cow? It has become dugdha dohaha. Where have we heard that expression? Yeah. So every drop of milk which it should have given according to its prarabdha karma has already been given. So this dugdha doha cow, that kind of a cow which is not giving milk, it's as good as no cow. Correct? Yeah. Correct? Yeah, this is the example he gives. So, karmani, akarma, yaf pashyet. Why? Phala abhavat. Because there is no result there. Yatha dhenuhu api. Even though it's a cow, gauhu, agauhu iti uchyate. The cow becomes, the gau becomes agau. Agau means no cow. Yeah. It's as good as not a cow. Why? Kshirakhyam phalam na yachati. Does not give milk. Which is what? Milk is the fruit of what? Cow. Yes. Don't overthink. Okay. Yeah. I'm telling you this. Don't go all Vedantin. Yes. Yeah. Don't overthink. These are all simple questions. All right. Yeah. So, milk is the product of what? Cow. Yeah. And the whole reason why people keep cows is for what sake? Milk. And if the cow does not give milk, and then if somebody says how many cows you have, and if you have 10 cows, you will say 9. Because the 10th one here, unlike the 10th man, the 10th cow need not be counted. Okay? Why? Because it's as good as useless. Phala abhavat. You see how the Purva Mimamsaka is karma phala holics they are. They just want to catch hold of karma phala and then run with it. That's all they want. And so, gauhu agauhu iti uchyate. Why? Kshirakhyam. Akhyam means called. So there is no fruit, no product called milk. Iti tadvat. Tatha, and then conversely, nitya akarane akarmani cha karma yaf pashyet narakadi pratyavaya phalam yachati prayachati iti ityarthaha. So now, nitya akarane, karma, when it is not done. You see, akarane, he has brought it in, that sentence. Akarane pratyavaya. Yes, write it down. Okay. So, akarane pratyavaya, very important because it will keep coming again and again in the Gita, in the Upanishads, in the Adi Shankara Bhashya also. So, akarane pratyavaya means if you don't do, you incur papa. Katham, how? And he explains how. Like for example, did you do the 5 yajnas today? Rishi yajna, Deva yajna, Pitru yajna, etc. No. Well, you have incurred papa. What is papa? Karma phala. And what is the karma phala? You are going to naraka. What is naraka? Opposite of swarga. You are going to naraka. And patah, you are falling into naraka, where all kinds of tortures await you. And then, so therefore what? So therefore, you have to do nitya karma. You see how it is connected to kriya. This is how they are talking about. So now, have you done nitya karma? No. Haven't done nitya karma, but still have incurred phala. So, akarmani, in not doing, what do I have? Narakapata karma phala. Did you see how they are interpreting this? Okay? Yeah. So then, na etad yuktam vyakhyanam. So, this kind of an interpretation is faulty. Na yuktam, it is not correct. It is inappropriate. It's not appropriate. Why is it not appropriate? Because we have to take this whole thing into context. So, verse 416 said, Yad jnatva karma, so this karma I am going to tell you, Yad jnatva, knowing which what will happen to you? Mokshyase, you will be free from what? Ashubhat, from all inauspicious things, you will be free. So now, if I am told that even if I don't do something, I will get bad karma, is that going to make me free? No. Are you feeling free? If if you are told that even if you don't do something, you are going to incur bad karma, does anybody feel free? No. So this is basically a very sectarian, pakshapata interpretation. from the standpoint of Purva Mimamsaka. Iti Bhagavata Uktam Vachanam Badhyeta. Bhagavan's words will be falsified. Badhyeta, contradicted, falsified, will not come to fruition. And that's why Vyasa presents Krishna as Shri Bhagavan Uvacha. Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Sanjaya Uvacha, Arjuna Uvacha, but Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, not Krishna Uvacha or Shri Krishna Uvacha. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, this is Bhagavat Vachanam, because this is the words of Bhagavan, and since the words of Bhagavan, they have to be what? Immaculate. It's a scripture, that which is revealed. So if it is a revelation, it cannot have flaws, and so it should be flawless because it is there for my hitam. And if it is there for my hitam, it has to be immaculate. And so therefore, here, if we interpret it in this way, Bhagavan's words will be falsified. How will they be falsified? He explains. Nityanam anushtanat ashubhat syat nama mokshanam. Okay, let's give it to them that if you keep doing nitya karma daily, means what? You are doing all the 5 types of yajnas which we have discussed, Rishi yajna, Atithi yajna, Deva yajna, Pitru yajna, all these things, Manushya yajna, all the Bhuta yajna, everything you are doing. And then there is no phala per se, but then what happens as a result of that? Moksha is there, relative moksha from unwanted things, because you are not doing unwanted things. There is peace of mind. So therefore, some kind of moksha may be there. He says, I grant you that, but natu tesham phala abhava jnanat. Freedom is there from papa, because of the performance of the daily duties, but you cannot, but it cannot be attributed that from the knowledge. If you say that nitya karma is devoid of any result, do you get freedom? Say no, so we can move on. Yeah. So if you brush your teeth, you don't get any moksha. Did you get moksha now? No. This is the idea, that this phala is, by knowing this, nothing happens. And then further, nahi nityanam phala abhava jnanam ashubha mukti phalatvena choditam nitya karma jnanam va. Then it has not been declared by Bhagavan that either the knowledge of the performance of duties, or the knowledge that they don't produce action, or the knowledge of non-performance of duties, or the knowledge that they do produce papa is going to free you. Where has it been said? Where is Bhagavad Vachanam here? No. What did Bhagavan say? The one who sees in actionlessness in action. That is what was said. It was not talked about. The knowledge of nitya karma was not talked at all, not at all talked about. Etena akarmani karma darshanam prayuktam. Nahi akarmani karma iti darshanam kartavyata iha chodyate nityasyatu kartavyata matram. So what is the duty in nitya karma? To do it, simply to do it, that's all. Do your puja, do your abhisheka, do your bhuta yajna, do your all the 5 kinds of sacrifices that connect you to Bhagavan, do it. That is the daily duty. Is your duty to contemplate on how this is non-action? No. Nowhere it is said that. And so this is not part of the duty. The duty lies in its performance. And then in the non-performance, there is a result that accrues, which is papa karma. That's all is said. It's not said that you have to contemplate on the knowledge of non-doing. What is non-doing? What is opposite doing? All these things, you don't have to buy that knowledge. You don't have to repeat that knowledge. Nowhere has it been enjoined by the Shastra that please chant and contemplate on Gita chapter 4 verse 18. Has it been said anywhere? No. It just says do your karma and move on. Don't sit and think, how come actionless? Okay, am I actionless because I did it, but no fruit accrued? That means what? I must not have done it. Like this, nobody is asked to think. Nobody is enjoined to think. And then, so therefore, nahi nacha akaranat nityasya akaranat, by non-performance of duties, pratyavayah bhavati iti vijnanat, by knowing that something bad will happen if I don't do this. Is there a fruit to that knowledge? No, not at all. Na api karma akarma iti mithya darshanat ashubhat mokshanam buddhimatvam yuktata krishna karma kritvadi cha phalam upapadyate stutihi va. Furthermore, nahi na api, furthermore, karma akarma iti. So, action. What action? Nitya karma. Nityam karma we have to say. So this nitya karma is actually actionless. Actionlessness. If you know that, do you get all the fruits that are promised in the Bhagavad Gita? Sa buddhiman, meaning buddhimatta, the wisdom. Do you become wise by doing nitya karma? Do you become wise? No. You only become wise in the sense that you say, okay, this cannot be the whole of my life. There must be something more that I am not seeing. That's all. You don't become wise by doing nitya karma. Do you get moksha by doing nitya karma? Absolutely not. You don't get moksha by doing nitya karma. And then do you feel completely fulfilled by doing nitya karma? Krishna karma krit? No. So this nitya karma and seeing nitya karma as actionlessness is not going to produce any of these things that Bhagavan has talked about in verses 416, 417 and 418. So therefore, this is of low use, and also it cannot be for glorifying karma either. Stutyartham va. And so, and then he does a beautiful thing here. Very nice. This part of the Bhashya you can mark because this is concluding this particular argument. Okay. Mithya jnanam, conclusion from one standpoint. Mithya jnanam eva sakshad ashubha rupam. So, mithya jnanam means wrong knowledge. So, this is wrong knowledge. That if I know that I am doing nitya karma but I am not producing any result, that means I am akarta. Is that right knowledge or wrong knowledge? Wrong knowledge. So then, is there anything more inauspicious than wrong knowledge? No, not from the standpoint of the Vedantin. For Vedantins, they freak out if there is wrong knowledge, because what brings you to Vedanta is what? Wrong knowledge. Wrong notions. Ajnanam does not bring anybody to Vedanta. Otherwise, all the dogs and cats would be crowding this classroom. Yeah, they are also Ajnanis. They don't know that I am God. There is a spelling mistake in my name. It should be G-O-D. No dog thinks that. No dog is thinking that. So, it's not just not knowing that brings one to a Vedanta ashram. What brings one to Vedanta ashram is wrong knowledge of the self, of the world, of God. Jiva, Ishvara and Jagat. Concerning these three, I have wrong knowledge which is colonizing the mind and giving sorrow. This is why I come to the ashram, to correct that knowledge. Is it not? Yes. So now, if the Shastra also gives wrong knowledge, and then it says, Ashubhat mokshanam syat. You will be free of Ashubha. Adi Shankara says there is nothing more Ashubha than wrong knowledge, because it's the wrong knowledge that has brought me here. Wrong knowledge I want to correct, and then on top of that, if the Shastra itself is giving wrong knowledge, there is nothing more pathetic than this. Okay, so Ashubha Mithya Jnanam means not Mithya as in Satyam Mithya, Mrisha, false knowledge, wrong knowledge. Eva Sakshat Ashubha Rupam Kutaha Anyasmad Ashubhat Mokshanam. How can it free you from other wrong knowledge and other Ashubha like sorrow, fear, etc.? It cannot free you from that ever. Even if it tried, it cannot free you from that. So therefore, and he gives a beautiful example, Nahi tamaha tamaso nivartakam. So there is darkness in the room. Okay. So you enter the room from outside and it is all dark. Do you tell your friend, please bring some more darkness from outside to dispel the darkness in this room? Is that even possible? No. So just like darkness is not dispelled by more darkness, wrong knowledge cannot dispel the already wrong knowledge in the head of the Jiva, which has brought him or her to Vedanta, and therefore this kind of an interpretation. What is the interpretation? I do Nitya Karma but don't produce a result, and that is akarma, that is actionlessness. This kind of a nonsensical interpretation itself is full of flaws, therefore it is inauspicious, and therefore it cannot give me any kind of moksha. Knowing this cannot give me moksha. The Nanu was sleeping, Mr. Nanu wakes up, okay? And then it's a small Purva Paksha, it's the same thing. These Purva Pakshis are not very original, okay? After you get their drift, they think the same thing over and over again. And they ask it in a different way. But actually if you go deep into the question, it's the same old question from before. You know? Old wine in new bottle, that's all. Except you spell wine with W-H-I-N-E. Old wine, whining means complaining, in new bottles. So this is the same thing, the same objection, wearing new Angavastram. That's all it is. Okay, so let us read it. Why not? Okay, so so what does he say? Nanu karmani yat akarma darshanam akarmani va karma darshanam natad mithya jnanam kim tarhi gaunam phala abhava nimittam. No, it's not wrong knowledge. It's not wrong information. Who said it is false information? It's not wrong information, but we are looking at a different interpretation, secondary interpretation. Primary you keep, because it doesn't know what else to say anymore. Yeah, primary you keep, Akarta, Atma and all, you take Atma. We don't want Atma. What do we want? We want to protect the Karta. Your Akartra Atma you take. But the Karta we want to protect, and we want to say what? You have to be forever Karta. This is the Purva Mimamsaka's plan. So the Purva Mimamsaka says, why not let's compromise. Now I am a very understanding Purva Pakshi. Let's agree to disagree. How do you agree to disagree? Let us say, you take your Akartra Atma, your actionless Atma, we don't want to go there, okay? Give us the secondary interpretation, and what is the primary interpretation? You take. Moksha, etc., all your highfalutin nonsense you take and run with it. Leave us with the secondary interpretation, because the secondary interpretation says, Akarane pratyavaya. In non-doing, you produce a result. In doing, you don't produce a result. How about that? Shake hands, do namaste. What's your MO? And then Adi Shankara says, no compromise. No compromise. Because whether it is primary knowledge or secondary interpretation, Both of them have to have ekavakyata because we are talking of the Veda. You cannot have wrong interpretation of the Veda because the Veda is here to give humanity, humankind, what? Hitam. It's for one's own comfort. It is how to negotiate yourself out of samsara that the Veda has been given. The Veda is sukham, gives hitam. Is like a cool shower in the hot desert air of samsara. So therefore, it cannot have hanky-panky interpretation. One for you, one for me. Selective interpretation. You take this meaning, I'll take this meaning. Let us look at what the verse is saying. Why do you have to just manufacture a meaning that is not there? Just call it secondary meaning. And so he says, na. Karma akarma vijnanadapi gaunat phalasya ashravanat. There is no shruti backing. Ashravanat means it has no shruti pramanyam. It has not been ratified by the Upanishads. Nowhere in the Upanishads or anywhere in the Prasthanatraya is it said that this, please look at it as the secondary interpretation of action and non-action. Na api shruti hani ashruti parikalpanaya. So there are two problems here. One is shrutehe hani. Hani means the loss of the shruti, the contradiction of the shruti. So it has no shruti pramanyam, it is not ratified by the shruti. So if you insist on this wrong interpretation, the shruti will take a beating. The shruti will be falsified, the shruti will be contradicted, shruti hani. That is the first problem which comes as a result of this. And then shruti hani. And then the second is ashruti parikalpana. Parikalpana means making it in your head. Cooking up something in your head is called kalpana. So, kalp to manufacture, to make. So, kalpana, something that is human made. Meaning what? Your own fanciful imagination, which is not ratified by the Shruti. First of all, you are going against the Shruti, and not content with that, you are giving your own interpretation that is not at all heard of anywhere in the Shruti. And after all this exercise, what happens? Tatra vyajena para vyamoha rupena karmani akarma yaf pashed ityadina kim. What is achieved? What is achieved by this false vyaja means deceiving. So by this deceptive interpretation, by this misleading interpretation, what is gained other than delusion? What else is gained? Nothing is gained. This is a stretch. At the very best, it is a stretch. At the very worst, it is the insult to the Shruti. Tatra evam vyachakshanena bhagavata uktam vakyam loka vyamohartham iti vyaktam kalpitam syat. So by these people who interpret this wrongly, we will have to come to the conclusion that Bhagavan had the intention of what? Deceiving the entire world by saying you will get moksha. How? By knowing that you will not get any fruit by doing nitya karma. Are you going to get that moksha? Never. So that means what? The Lord Krishna himself had the intention of deluding everybody who studies the Bhagavad Gita. Can we go with that interpretation? If we go with that interpretation, that means we have authority issues, daddy issues and mummy issues that haven't been analyzed, resolved. This is when this kind of a thing happens. When you refuse to take something at face value, and when you are coming with an elaborate wrong interpretation, your own interpretation, that means you have no Shraddha. If you have no Shraddha, that means why do you not have Shraddha? Not you, but I'm asking the Purva Mimamsaka. If the Purva Mimamsaka does not have Shraddha, we have to ask the person, if you don't have Shraddha, that means there are certain unresolved issues with regard to your childhood. These are called authority issues. Cannot accept Ishvara. Cannot accept Ishvara Ukti. The words of Bhagavan are the words of Bhagavan. If that Shraddha is not there, that means you have distrust of authority, which comes from mother issue, father issue. So please go resolve that. Okay. So then, na etat, na cha etat, Chadmarupena Vakyena. Chadmarupena Vakyena means by sentences which are intended to cover the meaning. So the meaning, these kinds of esoteric sentences which don't really mean anything. Rakshaniyam Vastu. So this is what can be protected by these deceptive statements. न अपि शब्दांतरेण पुनः पुनः उच्यमानं सुबोधम स्यात् इत्येवं वक्तुं युक्तम्. Also, if you keep saying, I did nitya karma, but I didn't get anything, therefore I am akarta, and then you repeat that. I did nitya karma, but I didn't get anything, therefore I am akarta. I did nitya karma, I did not get anything, therefore I am akarta. If you repeat this, what happened? Nothing. Yeah, kantha shoshanam. You just want to now to have a drink of water because your throat has dried out. No other phala is evident by repeating something. That too wrong. Wrong things if you repeat, nothing is going to happen. Why? Because the non-production of the phalam has nothing to do with karta or akarta. This is very, very important point. The non-production or the production of phalam, result of action, whose department is it? Ishvara's department. How do we know? Karmanyeva adhikaraste ma phaleshu kadachana. Second chapter. You have every right and the privilege of doing action. You don't need to be concerned with the producing of the results. So then why are you result oriented here? That means that statement also of Bhagavan you haven't understood. So then karmani eva adhikarhate iti atrahi sputataram uktam arthaha na punaha vaktavyo bhavati. So we don't need to repeat it. Poor thing says that and repeats it. Okay. So that shows he himself is at the end of his patience. So then, sarvatra cha prashastam bodhavyam cha kartavyam eva na nishprayojanam bodhavyam iti uchyate. And in all contexts, we should only say things that have a purpose. Nobody talk, we do talk without purpose, but we should not. Like for example, if somebody who is just blabbering all day long, you ask them a question, did you have your lunch? And what do they say? The sky is blue, they say. And not just one time. You ask them something else. And then the next time they say, grass is green. So like this they keep saying. Then what is the use of these kinds of statements? No use at all. Might as well not talk, Bhashyakara says. Why to keep on repeating wrong things? And then because everywhere there is a rule. What sarvatra cha? What is the rule? Prashastam bodhavyam. Things that are exalted, wonderful, that should be talked about, that should be known. And only things which are wonderful should be done. And then nishprayojanam na bodhavyam. Useless things must not be told. Okay, the roadside blabberer we can understand. Maybe has some mental health issues, you can say. But what about the person? What about the person like Bhagavan Krishna who is teaching? How can Bhagavan Krishna say wrong things will never happen, useless things? And then, Nacha mithya bodhavyam bhavati. Wrong knowledge should not be known. Tat pratyupasthapitam va vastu abhasam. Because it is not worth knowing wrong knowledge or the wrong things which are the wrong results of this wrong knowledge. Na api, now we are, see, all this was just rebutting the Purva Mimamsaka, but the last part of the arsenal is right here. It is actually a fabulous and a complete rebuttal, Brahmastra. So just like that sutra which I quoted earlier, the Purva Mimamsaka Sutra, what is that? Amnayasya kriyarthatvat anarthakyam atadarthanam. So this, what do they say? If the Veda, if there is any statement in the Veda that is not enjoining you to either do something or abstain from some action, it should be disregarded as useless. So, what does Adi Shankara do? Adi Shankara brings the arsenal from Chandogya Upanishad and from the second chapter of the Bhagavad Gita itself, and then their own argument puts it back. It's like a judo move. Now, judo means what? The judo master will be 4 feet 10 inches. Okay, judo master, tiny person. And then somebody is 6 foot 2 inches. And then before the so-called competition, they both bow to each other, do namaste 108 times, and then after that, before this 6-footer knows what is happening, he is flat on the floor. Yeah. How did this happen? How can a 4 feet 10 inch judo master put this fellow on the ground? How is this possible? You use that person's own strength against them. First you deflect their advances and use their strength against them. And so that's why martial arts are actually a philosophical art, because you do that also philosophically. It's really not an ordinary thing. So here he takes this particular stance of saying, you say that the statements which have no action, no enjoining of actions are useless. We also have our own statements that say the opposite. What do they say? They tell us some things that will totally crush your stupid argument of akarane pratyavaya and this nitya karma not producing anything and non-existent karma producing something. Has anything come out of non-existence? No. What comes out of non-existence? Non-existence, nothing. Can existence come out of non-existence? No. So, therefore, this is a very beautiful move, because we see that Bhashyakara's mind is always in the Paramarthika Satta. It is not in the Vyavaharika Satta, it's not in the everyday reality, even though he is unparalleled in giving very appropriate everyday examples. His orientation is always towards the Shruti Vakyas and towards Paramarthika Satta. Very beautiful argument, very most important argument, because he says, na api nityanam akaranat abhavat pratyavaya bhava upapattihi. Your pratyavaya is only for what? The empirical realm. It is a protsahanam. It is there as a deterrent for people to not sit idly and stop their karma. It is also there to encourage people to do their karma. Really speaking, there is no such thing as pratyavaya. It is mithya. Pratyavaya is mithyakya. Empirically, okay, you say that. You say, you say to small children, you shouldn't say, but people used to say at some point, if you don't go to sleep, there is monster will come and get you. So very bad parenting practice, but it was there. So where is the monster? And they would say it is under your bed. It is for sure the child will never sleep from that time on. So it is under your bed. What is under the bed? Nothing is under the bed. Similarly, your pratyavaya is like the monster in the child's bed. Like the monster in the child's, under the child's bed, it is a figment of the imagination. It really does not exist. Why? Because all that is there is what? Sat, Atman. That is what is there. Asat does not exist. Asataha bhavaha na vidyate. Another, long 6-page bhashya we saw many 3-month courses ago with the 18th verse of, I don't know what is this number 18, we have to be careful, with the 18th verse of the 2nd chapter. 16, 16, okay, anyhow, in that area. Yeah. So, the 16th verse of the 2nd chapter, we went through the same thing. Asataha, for that which is non-existence, how can it be existent? So, if pratyavaya is there or is not doing, correct? Pratyavaya is non-existent. Even empirically it's non-existent because you haven't done anything. How can it produce anything at all? So pratyavaya is mithya. Out of non-existence, what comes? Oh, nothing comes. Nothing can come out of non-existence. And least of all, Sat cannot come out of non-existence. And he has a beautiful Vedantic argument, after which he is going to, I promise, truly sum up. All right, yeah. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Is today cleaning day? No. Okay. So we